One quiet day, Marco was sitting in his dark apartment, scrolling through old photos on his phone. One was of him with Anna at the beach, another at a romantic dinner. These photos reminded him of those beautiful days when his life was filled with hope and love. Yet, there was something incomplete in his heart, a strange feeling as if a part of him was missing. It all started quite simply one rainy day. Marco was visiting a small cafe near his work, a casual place. There, Anna was sitting quietly, reading a book with a cup of coffee in her hand. Her eyes sparkled as she turned a new page, as if she were living in another world. Marco thought, if I could talk to her, what would happen? Of course. He never imagined he would find himself in a situation where he tried to attract this strange girl. His emotions were running high, but he didn't know how to express them. He gathered his courage and approached her. "Do you like the book?" he asked, hoping she would respond. Anna replied with a shy smile, "Yes, this book is great. It's about solitude." Marco told her, "I don't like being alone. Maybe that's why I'm here." And so began their first conversation. As the days passed, their relationship developed rapidly. They were everywhere together, sharing new adventures and talking about everything under the sky. But things changed over time. Little by little, disagreements began to emerge. Anna felt that Marco no longer cared for her in the same way, and Marco felt that Anna was gradually distancing herself. There were conflicting feelings between them, and their communication began to deteriorate. One day, Anna said, "I can't be here anymore, Marco." Her voice trembled when she said it, and his heart nearly stopped. "Does this mean we're done?" Marco asked her in a low voice, but deep down, he knew something had changed. This moment was the beginning of the end. Several months passed, and Marco felt as if his life had come to a standstill. Everything around him reminded him of Anna. He listened to the songs they'd listened to together in the car, passing by the place where they'd first had coffee, and everything brought back those painful memories. But he couldn't stop thinking about her. One rainy day, late at night, his phone suddenly rang. It was a message from an unknown number. "Do you remember me?" His heart was beating fast, as if he'd gone back in time. He quickly texted her, "Of course, where and when?" They met in the same cafe where they first met. When he saw Anna, he felt something different. She seemed calmer, but her eyes held the same passion he'd felt since the beginning of their relationship. "How are you?" Marco asked cautiously. "Different," Anna replied. "A lot of things have changed." That answer was laced with sadness, but deep down, she felt something more. "And you?" she asked. "Have you changed?" "I can't change what happened," Marco replied weakly. "But I've learned from my mistakes, and I don't want to lose you again." There was a moment of silence between them. Then Anna said, "I haven't stopped thinking about you either, but I'm scared. The fear that things will go back to the way they were. But we don't go back, we start over. We can try. Nothing is impossible," Marco said, his heart filled with hope. The days passed, and as they grew closer, Marco began to sense that something had changed in Anna. She still loved him, but there were barriers that couldn't be easily overcome. There were moments of tension between them, but they still decided to keep trying. The days passed slowly, and each meeting with Anna meant a new beginning. But deep down, he felt that something was still unresolved. Then came the day that brought him hope once again. As he walked with Anna down a quiet street under a starlit sky, he turned to her and said, "Will you spend your whole life with me?" Anna smiled, tears of joy streaming down her eyes. "Yes," she said, "as long as I'm with you." That moment was a new beginning for them. Not because it was an easy beginning, but because it was full of challenges. But Marco knew that life is worth living when we are with the people we love, no matter the difficulties. Years passed, and life began to bring them new adventures. They continued to learn about each other and face life's challenges together. They were together through good times and bad, and whenever they faced a problem, they turned to each other, finding comfort in each other's presence. Although the past was filled with pain, their love matured. Marco learned that love is not just moments of happiness, but also the ability to face difficulties together and stand together through every test. In the end, they decided to build their future together. They had big dreams, and they were certain that the love that brought them together would remain stronger than any challenge. The days passed quickly in Marco and Anna's lives, and with each day they discovered new things about each other. At first, their relationship was filled with caution and fear of failure. But over time, they began to build a strong trust between them, and they decided to face all difficulties together. Although the beginning was not easy, their love began to deepen. One day, Marco decided to take Anna on a trip to the mountains, where they planned to visit a place far from the noise of the city. The goal of the trip was to get away from it all and share quiet moments with each other. When they reached the top of the mountain, Marco stood in front of Anna, took a deep breath, and said, "I loved you more than I could have imagined. We've been through so much, but now I know we're stronger than anything." Anna, looking at the horizon, smiled and said, "So do I? I learned with you that love isn't just a feeling. It's the strength that helps us face everything together." This was a confession Anna had been waiting for. And at that moment, Marco felt as if the whole world had stopped spinning. The love between them was stronger than anything else. At that moment, Marco decided to give her a gift she hadn't expected. He took a small box out of his pocket and opened the lid to reveal a beautiful ring. He said in a calm but confident voice, "Anna, will you spend the rest of your life with me?" Tears of joy filled Anna's eyes as she said, "Yes, Marco, of course I do." That moment was the beginning of a new life filled with hope and love. They returned to the city, each feeling as though they had cast off all the shackles that had held them back in the past. But life, as they had learned, isn't just moments of happiness. It's a series of challenges that a couple must face together. After a while, new challenges appeared in their lives. Marco was struggling with work pressures, while Anna was trying to balance her personal life and work. But they always found time for each other, even in difficult times. One evening, they sat together on their small balcony, drinking tea while watching the sunset. Anna said, "Sometimes I think about how we overcame everything we've been through. Whenever I think back, I feel grateful." Marco smiled and said, "We've been through a lot, but the most important thing is that we're together." The years passed, and they had a home filled with beautiful memories. They decided to start a family, and their lives began to take a new turn. They had a little girl, Lucy, and were completely happy. But they learned that love isn't just about happy moments. It's also about constant work and mutual care. Years later, one evening, they sat together on the same balcony they had been on when he proposed to her. Marco said, "Anna, I think we've proven together that love doesn't change with time. We've also learned that challenges are part of life, but love is what holds us together." Anna replied with a deep smile, "You're right. Every day I spend with you makes me feel stronger than ever." As they sat together, watching the sunset once again, they knew their lives would be full of challenges ahead, but they were ready for them. Together, they would be stronger than anything. Days and weeks passed, and Marco and Anna lived a happy life filled with beautiful memories. Not everything was going as they had expected, but over time they learned that true love doesn't mean everything will be perfect. It means having the ability to face challenges together. One day, Marco was facing a lot of pressure at work. Projects were piling up, and he was having difficulty balancing his personal and professional lives. He felt distant from Anna, and the more he tried to find time for her, the more pressure he found himself under. He realized he had to put a stop to this and rearrange his priorities. One evening, after a long day at work, Marco sat with Anna in the living room. He looked tired, but Anna noticed something in his eyes. She said gently, "Marco, is everything okay? You look exhausted." Marco replied with a faint smile, "I think I'm a little tired. Work is piling up, and everything seems more complicated than usual. But don't worry, I'll be fine." But Anna wasn't convinced. She knew him well. "Marco," she said seriously, "we're in this together. If you're suffering, then I'm suffering too. We need to talk about this. Our lives can't be this way. We need to change something." Marco thought for a few seconds before answering, "You're right, Anna. I don't want to lose our balance because of work. I have to put you first in my life, and I'll work to improve the situation." Those words marked the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. Together, they decided to make more time for each other and to start taking care of their personal lives first. Marco decided to set boundaries around his work and spend weekends with Anna in places they both loved. They also decided to learn how to communicate better with each other, so that neither would feel alone in the challenges they faced. After several months, Marco and Anna were much happier. They always found time together, whether on walks in the fresh air or on quiet nights spent together home. Thanks to Anna's constant support, Marco was able to balance his work and personal life better. Their relationship grew stronger than ever. Then came the day Anna had been waiting for. She had always wanted to become a mother, and now the opportunity had arrived. Anna discovered she was pregnant and decided to share the news with Marco in a special way. One day, Anna took Marco to the park, where she had prepared a surprise for him. "I want you to know something, Marco," she said, smiling. "You're going to be a father." Marco was shocked for a moment, but then he burst into joy. He hugged Anna to his chest and said, "I think our lives will be more beautiful and happier with this news. I can't wait to see our baby. Thank you for making my life complete." The days passed, and their lives changed unexpectedly. Marco and Anna became parents, beginning their journey together as a family. They faced the daily challenges of any new couple, but they supported each other every step of the way. Lucy, their little girl, was a source of great joy for them. Their life was filled with laughter and beautiful moments as a family. Every time Marco and Anna looked at their baby, they realized that their love had paid off beautifully and that their life together would only get better. One evening, after closing their eyes to rest from a long day, Marco and Anna sat in the living room while Lucy slept in her room. Marco said, "Anna, when we started our journey together, I didn't know what lay ahead, but now I know we are stronger than anything. Together we have learned how to face life and how to love each other in every moment." Anna smiled and said, "Yes, and that's what love is. It's not just words. It's actions that prove we're here for each other, and we always will be." As the years passed, the love between Marco and Anna continued to grow. Despite all the challenges they faced, their love only grew stronger. They knew that life isn't always easy, but it's all the more beautiful when a couple faces it together. Years passed, and their lives changed dramatically. Lucy became a young woman, growing up and learning about life in a family filled with love and care. Marco and Anna watched their daughter grow before their eyes, becoming an independent and strong person. But they were always there for her, offering support and guidance every step of the way. One day, Anna decided to take a break from her daily life. So she planned a small family trip to the mountains. This trip was an opportunity to relive some of the love and closeness between Marco and Anna. The car was filled with laughter and music as they drove there. "Do you remember the first time we went here?" Anna said, smiling as she looked at Marco. "Of course. How could I forget? That trip was the beginning of many beautiful moments we shared together," Marco replied, smiling gently. Traveling to the mountains was more than just a trip for them. It was an opportunity to relive beautiful memories and reconnect. Although Lucy was filling the car with childish questions and comments, Marco and Anna felt like they were in their own world, surrounded by love and the memories they had made together. During the drive, they stopped at a quiet spot on the side of the road to enjoy the scenery. The air was fresh and the sun was setting over the horizon, adding a special beauty to the place. They decided to spend some time together in this peaceful place. "I think it's these moments that make life worth living," Marco said, wrapping his arms around Anna. "These are the moments we share with the people we love." "You're right," Anna replied, resting her head on his shoulder. "In the end, everything in life is more valuable when it's shared with the people we love." Then they looked at Lucy, who was playing nearby. It was a moment of happiness that they wished would last forever. After spending a pleasant time in the mountains, they decided to head home. This time, however, they had many new memories that would remain etched in their hearts. A short journey, but filled with emotions that won't be easily forgotten. The years passed, and many things changed in their lives. Lucy started attending high school, and Marco and Anna began thinking about retirement and planning for their distant future. However, one thing remained constant. Their love for each other remained unchanged. The love that brought them together at the beginning of their lives remained the foundation of their lives. One evening, as they all sat together at home, Anna said, "I think it's time for us to do something new. We have so many beautiful memories, but we need a new adventure, something that will fill our lives with joy. Marco smiled and said, I'm always ready for a new adventure, as long as you're by my side. You're more than just a wife. You're my partner in life, and everything is better with you. A few days passed, and after much thought, they decided to start a small business together. They opened a small shop in the city that reflected their passion and love for each other. The project represented a new beginning for them, a dream finally realized after years of work and love. With each day, this project grew bigger, and they felt happier. They had what they needed: love, family, and a job that reflected their passion. Over time, they began teaching Lucy how to run a business, marking the beginning of a new generation that carried the same values and principles they had been raised with. Life, they learned, isn't always without challenges, but love and mutual respect provide the strength to face any difficulty. With every smile, every moment they spent together, they felt their lives richer and more fulfilled. In the end, when Marco and Anna looked back at the life they had built together, the smiles on their faces were bigger than ever. They not only had a beautiful home and a wonderful daughter, but they also had a relationship built on a foundation of true love and deep respect. I think we did everything right? Marco said, looking at Anna with loving eyes. Yes, everything right. Anna replied with a smile. Life is more beautiful when it's lived with the people you love. The end. Every beginning has an end, but love never ends.